Welcome to the
Boozy Pundit, episode number 20, the Mar-a-Lago raid reaction. The raid respond and react rant.
Storming the raiding of Mar-a-Lago and the relative importance of political considerations when enforcing the law, whatever the matter is, and what is the precise role of the Attorney General and the head of the FBI?
How governed by political considerations should they be?
Should the head of the FBI be basing things on optics and how things will play in the media and how things will play politically? As a law enforcement investigatory agency division, they are to just keep their heads down and investigate. But we're treated to a whole new way of doing business with Jim Comey, kind of throwing out the rule book, seeing himself as a singularly important figure in American life and politics.
Famously bumbling, stumbling, and fumbling his way through a series of catastrophic mistakes and bad decisions that ultimately cost Hillary Clinton the election. Like when he decided to supersede the chain of command by going over the head of Loretta Lynch.
At the time, Loretta Lynch, because he believed she was compromised by a tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton, and he had a press conference in which he reported there was no news. No reasonable this is all relevant to today. No reasonable prosecutor would charge based on this situation.
Comey even invented a new legal standard, which meant that even though there was gross negligence, so long as she did not intend to harm the United States, it's fine.
Rules were broken, but this is one of those things we let slide, I guess, because it's Hillary Clinton. There will be a great hue and cry if Trump is not sort of treated to the same standard as Hillary Clinton in regards to prosecutorial discretion. Regarding whatever documents they raided, the FBI raided, and there's some vague U.S. documents, classified information, classified documents that Trump has or kept or didn't hand over. My latest theory on that, by the way, is, and I said, wait a minute. What if Trump just, took whatever documents in question, the materials in question were going to be pursued, and it probably just took this long. There was probably, we'll send those right over. And finally, the DOJ or the FBI, whoever, decided, well, we've had it. They're dicking around with us. We're going to go in and grab this shit. What about the theory that Trump took the documents to set up the situation where the FBI is raiding his house and coming after him, and he can play the victim and steal the news cycle? This is what I mean about Merrick Garland. Like, are we sure he thought all of this through? Because now you've caused a tremendous agitation. You've given Trump martyrdom status in his mind. He loves this kind of shit. He's now the victim of the deep state. He says, look, see, the deep state is out to get me. Remember all that stuff that actually happened? That Durham got to the bottom of? And here they are doing it again. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's something untoward happening here. I highly doubt that, actually. I get the sense that this is all too boring. This is just, these are loose ends that, we can't just let Trump, ride off into the sunset with these documents. We asked nicely, and I'm still going with the theory that there have been ongoing talks about this, and, Trump or his people were basically yesing them to death or, hanging up on them. So I guess it would be mainly incumbent upon the Attorney General to really know what he's sort of getting into, and not so much make decisions about the prosecution based on through the prism of politics, but certainly be able to anticipate Well, for example, the predictable way in which the Trump media sphere and company have all responded. I mean, you're dealing with a faction of people well versed in all of the nonsense that the FBI has done. Only the most obtuse Trump hater thinks that Trump was treated fairly in the Operation Crossfire Hurricane with Comey and at the outset of his presidency. If you find yourself asking, gee, why would there be any issue with the FBI and Trump? You either are willfully obtuse, you fell asleep for the last 5 to 10 years, you still think Trump is a Russian agent, maybe? When I heard that it was the FBI raiding the Trump residence, I was thinking, geesh, the FBI and Trump have a very, very strained, troubled, fraught relationship. Yeah, I mean, the FBI should be, I would think, trying to stay well away from getting embroiled in another sort of political fiasco, a sloppy mess of a situation like Operation Crossfire Hurricane, which was the Comey operation to basically sabotage Trump as he was being taking office and into his presidency, to keep the shroud of investigation over him, and sort of willingly go along and play dumb when the people feeding you the information that you're going by are political hacks from the Clinton campaign. Even to the point where the FBI shared a field office with the very law firm where this Hillary Clinton lawyer who was generating this information, they shared an office. So you just slide over the piece of paper. Oh, by the way, have you seen this dossier?
Now, around this time, there was all sorts of hand-wringing about Russian disinformation and influencing the campaign. Meanwhile, this whole time, the centerpiece of the Democrats' argument that Trump was colluding with Russia was a piece of opposition research / Russian disinformation, which was known at the time to have been sourced from anonymous sources within the Kremlin. That was when it was presented at its best. It was never not that. And now all of it turned out to be wrong and a lie. Well, how surprised should we be?
Now, mind you, the dossier was actually a product of an opposition research firm called Fusion GPS, which originally was retained by some establishment Republicans who didn't want Trump in the primary, and then when Trump was the nominee, they turned over the effort to Hillary Clinton's campaign. They said, look, okay, we can't, go against him now. We can't be known to have been undermining him during the actual campaign when he's the nominee. So, but here, you take it. We have a whole, file on him that, here you go, see what you can do. So then it was later, after that transition, after the entity was changed hands, or the enterprise changed hands, later that that the whole Christopher Steele information was developed and written. So there was some muddling there that it turns out that Christopher Steele was hired by Republicans. Hillary's off the hook. Steele dossier was a product of the Hillary Clinton campaign. It was a dirty trick. It was misinformation. There was attempted collusion, I think, with the Trump Tower meeting and Eric Trump. Oh, I love it. About trying to get some information on Hillary. So they were the gang who couldn't shoot straight. They couldn't even carry off actual collusion. The person that they met with, by the way, was a Russian lawyer, and it was ostensibly the meeting was about the Magnitsky Act, which has to do with Russian nationals or sanctions. So she made this pitch about the Magnitsky Act, and she's a Russian lawyer. And lo and behold, by the way, this Russian lawyer, let's call her Natalia. I can't remember her name. Sorry. At the moment. she had dealings previously, like the day before, with this guy Glenn Tompkins. I can't remember the guy from Fusion GPS. Had been meeting with this Stolichnaya lawyer, and so sort of trying to like bait Trump into colluding. And to be fair, then Trump was on TV saying, "Hey, Russia, if you're listening, what about the documents?" I mean, that's pretty overt. Like, but in the era of Trump, is he kidding? Like, being ironic or something? But if you think about it, why would there have to be collusion? A quid pro quo? That's so silly. So there's like a briefcase has to change hands in an alleyway in order for Russia to just fuck with Hillary Clinton. I'm pretty sure they're doing that anyway. What would be the point of coordinating with Trump? Okay, so to circle back to my original topic, which has to do with the Mar-a-Lago raid. To me, it's a big talking point of mine that Comey superseded or exceeded his job requirements, his job duties, when he did various things, a list of different things. Not only press conference, but follow-up press conferences. We were operating in a world where Hillary Clinton was going to be president, or so we thought. And so I was acting accordingly based on that. Basically, Comey did not want a Clinton presidency to be tainted by an investigation that looked like it was kind of swept under the rug. So he wanted to maintain the appearance of due diligence and investigative rigor when it came to Hillary Clinton. Well, Comey had it in for Trump, and along with Clapper and all of the other like intelligence dudes who worked for Obama, and they totally screwed with them. And the peaceful transition of power was pretty much a joke, which is hilarious that 4 years later Democrats were lecturing everyone about, oh my God, what about the peaceful transfer of power? Yeah, like you guys sandbagged poor old Trumpy. You made it basically impossible for him to do anything. Under investigation, hampered, battling Comey, Russia for years. Jesus Christ, you worked a number on him. You railroaded Michael Flynn, which another thing Comey admits to. Comey brags about. Yeah, well, we knew that they weren't that organized in the early days of the administration. So normally we would go to White House counsel and see if they wanted to meet with us or get their permission before we send some guys over to interview them. But I knew they were not organized yet. It was Rant's Priebus. It was a mess. So I just sent my guys over to entrap whoever they could. To entrap, poor old what's-his-face. Yeah, I don't know. He did know, actually, on the substance, he did know that the FBI knew. You listened to the call, so the FBI and
Michael Flynn.
What's his face? Colonel Tompkins.
Actually, this actor does a hilarious version of Michael Flynn in The Comey Rule, which also has Doug from House of Cards playing Andy McCabe.
He had a target on his back doing lock her up, which is a little beyond the pale. The guy is an unusual cat, and there's politics, and then there's trying to criminalize or blatantly call for violence or lock her up. I mean, it's getting ridiculously. The anti-Trump forces definitely are very into weaponizing in a political way the various law enforcement agencies, whatever they have to do. Right. So Comey was playing loose and fast with the rules. He's like, oh, look, I know the rules. I make the rules. So FBI is all about enforcing rules. If you lie to us, it's a crime. So we're going to send guys over. We're going to have guys over there who have the transcript in front of them because we were spying on whoever the call was. We were listening in. And if we find so much as one thing that's not in line, then boom, we have them on good old lying to the FBI. And that will make at least a few headlines, and then people will go, oh my God, where there's smoke, there's fire. General Scott was something, Russia, headlines, oh no. Like, how many times, when there's smoke, there's fire, eventually there's going to be fire. No, it was remarkably, there was no fire after 2 years of Mueller. Mueller, by the way, Mueller's team said they were going to cooperate with the White House lawyers, the guy the guy Cipollone. These good lawyers. Trump did have some good lawyers. These guys, thought they were friendly with, from college.
I believe the connection was from the Marines. I believe Mueller was a Marine, and there was some sort of
from
man-to-man arrangement.
Association. They were friendly with Mueller, and they thought they had a good arrangement with. And they had a in good faith arrangement with the prosecutors in that, guys, look, we want this to end quickly, so we'll give you everything instead of slow walking documents. We will comply, but please, let's have this over with, because they didn't believe there was anything to it, because there wasn't. So the fastest way, if you are innocent, is to just comply and hope that in good faith that will be reciprocated. But increasingly, as Mueller was getting phased out and not really the one in charge, the powers that be, Andrew Weissman or whatever, they blew that all off, and they dragged it out as long as possible. So you can see why there's all this anger and bitterness on the Trump side, I would think by now. Saying that, it's because they point to the wrong evidence. They're pointing to Dominion voting machines and all these ridiculous conspiracies type theories. All they have to do is point to that the peaceful transition of power was mangled, and well, then there was the Hunter Biden thing, right there. The whole Hunter Biden memory hole of a story was a rigged part of the process. Sort of the fix was in. That doesn't amount. All is fair in love and politics and war. That doesn't amount to a rigged election per se, but that is not exactly above board, and that's a compromised result in my estimation. It certainly is a compromised result. Afterwards, the people apologized. They realized they were wrong. Jack Dorsey, Facebook, they're going, oh yeah, sorry, we were wrong. The damage had been done. Fucking assholes. So that's a tainted result. It's compromised. So it was kind of rigged. It's stolen. They should be pointing to that. Really, is all they need to point to. And then the fact that there was a active plot against them from elements of the law enforcement. And then so when Comey was fired, he acts all surprised, like, oh my God, why would I be fired? Are you fucking kidding me? You're like actively every day trying to undermine the president, and you're leading an investigation with Andy McCabe, and no one really buys that it's sort of on the up and up, or you're just a Boy Scout. We know what's happening. We know now what's happening. At the time, it was confusing, but all of that has come out. It's part of the Durham investigation. The point of the Durham investigation is not necessarily to lock people up. It's to just get to the bottom of what happened as a historical matter. So all of these facts have now quietly come out, way after damage had been done, or that they even matter really politically. Of course, no one admits it. Who was saying the wrong thing at the time? Rachel Maddow. People still believe in the Russia conspiracy theory. They're just gonna believe that till the day they die. But these Trump people, they don't agree with reality. We have to agree on the facts. People are entitled to their own opinion, but not their own facts. Meanwhile, we don't believe that the Russia thing was fake. We are insistently believing that. We're going to stick to our guns. There's no evidence at all. We should apologize. It's laughable, but we're going to complain about Trump people not hewing to reality.
Anyway, that's all I have for now. Let me know if you have any comments or take issue with anything I've said here in the comments section. Thanks for watching. Boozy Pundit.